Westeros.
And welcome to our Morning Throners podcast.
I'm Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Kyle.
We are your Morning Throners. And welcome back to another episode of your favorite Song of Ice and Fire podcast. We are your Morning Throners with Jaime 3 on deck. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
All right. This one was a little meandering for sure. He got around.
Oh man, this chapter sucked. This is like did Jaime take a page out of Brienne's book and just say like, let me waste 20 pages?
Well, kind of, right? I mean, I think that's kind of the end of this. If you really, I know you're making a joke, but I think you made a good point, right?
I'm pretty serious too.
yeah. So I think that was kind of the point of this one a little bit.
Oh gosh.
I agree. Not one of my favorite chapters. I think there's just, it's this chapter. I think there's some stuff that needs to happen just because, like, okay, Jaime's going out. Like, we can't skip, like, too much of this stuff. So some of it needs to be there. But, like, I don't see any big themes, which is, like, when there's a random Brienne chapter, there's, like, at least, like, a feminist theme or, like, you know what I mean? Like, some type of theme that seems to be holding the chapter together.
I think the theme is that he's becoming Brienne, or at least learning from Brienne.
A little bit. I get that, but I guess it's just too early. It's like we're getting the start of it, like, and there's just like too much redundancy in this chapter. Like he'll talk about one thing with Cersei, then he'll talk about the same thing with 3 more people on the ride, then he'll talk about it with Sir Bonifer at the end. I'm like, we don't need to talk about the same thing like 7 times. Like, I don't know. Yeah. It just felt like there was too much repetition.
Some of that I kind of like because you get a little bit of different perspective and where we've talked about this in the past, where can you trust what everybody's saying? So if a lot of them are kind of corroborating the same story or giving, different pieces of that story, I kind of like that a little bit. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I also, we're about to get into it. Might as well just get right into it, right? Yeah. So I was going to make a point, but it's an early point, so let's just get right into it.
Before we do, the short synopsis is basically Jaime gets sent out of King's Landing, and this chapter covers him leaving King's Landing to arriving at Harrenhal. And it doesn't seem like he's going to be staying at Harrenhal very long. It's more of a pass-through on the way to Riverrun.
Riverrun is next.
Riverrun's endgame.
Yeah,
you got to take that shit over and get Harrenhal in order. But yeah, so we start off with Jaime in Cersei's room, I would assume. Cersei's Solar. And she's just making fun of him to start. Like, wow, your beard sucks. You look like Robert. And your shitty white clothes, you look better in red and gold. Just coming at him. Normal Cersei stuff.
My problem is real early here. So it's the way he still, I don't know. I feel like, is he ever, isn't he? Right? Yeah. Like, this just seems like a complete 180 from where he's been. I feel like the past few chapters he's been like very anti-her, and then this one he's like, oh man, I just want her.
I think it's kind of like when you have like just recently like broken up with a girlfriend, like on pretty like amicable terms, like we're both in agreement, like it's just not working. But then like every once in a while you see the other one, you're just like, yo, you want to just fuck real quick? And you're just like,
oh gosh.
In that immediately post after stage, like sometimes that can just fly. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, it is funny because
like, why not? Like we're both in agreement, it's not going anywhere. Like, fuck it. Like, so I feel like that's kind of what he's thinking sometimes.
It's funny because he wants her in the room. Like, there's times where it's like, man, I just want to take her right now. And then I feel like right as he leaves, he's like, man, I can't wait to get the fuck out of here. Like, Cersei's annoying the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm saying, right? Like, I guess what Nelson, like, their history is longer than, like, just 2 days or whatever it is, to however many weeks of getting over it or whatever. But,
well, when he's not with her, it's like what Jeff said. When he's not with her, he's like, oh, she pisses me off. I hate being around her. But when he is with her, like, he's kind of still got that mentality, but there's just like a random line every once in a while where it's like, damn, I just kind of want to rip her clothes off and bang her right now. Or like, okay, I think just being in front of you is part of that.
And then he goes through the whole Lancel, Kettle Black, Moon Boy thing over and over again too. But at the same time, like, I feel like that's jealousy more than a reminding himself, like, this is why he shouldn't want her. Kind of deal.
Yeah, but if your ex-girlfriend is like, again, amicable breakup is now banging a bunch of other guys or potentially
amicable. You don't know what the word amicable means if you're comparing it
like
to
you
this.
don't hate each other.
This wasn't an amicable breakup. No, this wasn't an amicable breakup.
Enough.
These two weren't amicable.
I mean, they're brother and sister.
They literally walked away from each other like, fuck you, I'm never talking to you again. Like, you're worthless to me.
I guess you're right.
It's not amicable.
They're still cordial though.
No, they're not.
They're brother and
toxic.
sister.
This whole thing is toxic as fuck.
It's true. But they have responsibilities to uphold, and they're upholding them.
You're wrong.
That's part of the problem, but I think that duty comes before their relationship, and that's
I feel like they're kind of feeling at that too. I also feel like when he's thinking about Moon Boy and Osmond, whoever else she's banging Lancel, he's also like, wait, I thought we had something special. Like, and you're out here just like, how long have you just been out here banging everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Like, part of it is have I just been another one on the list of people that you're using?
Yeah, like, were you using me? Like, were you just banging me to use me type of thing? Like, I feel like that's the biggest thing. So
yeah, am I just another name on your list? That's fair.
Yeah, so we get pretty early on. He's like, yeah, you got to go capture River Run for me, and you got to get Harrenhal in order because that shit's crazy, especially because we need Wireless Mannerly back because we learned a couple chapters ago that we're making a trade, right? Wireless for the Onion Knight's head.
Exactly. They killed. Well, no, just for them to like kind of join the realm. They were like kind of joining the realm before, but they're like, no, we're not gonna. And Cersei's like, you kill the Onion Knight, we'll send back your guy, and they put his head on a spike.
Yeah,
I think they had debated if they should just get the Onion, like Davos and his whole self sent back, his head sent back, and they decided like, nah, just kill him, put his head up,
just do it.
That'll be enough.
Put him up. Yeah.
Well, and then they said something about his knuckles too, right? Like that was the other side of it.
They put his hands up too to prove that it was him because he's missing knuckles. Yep. So yeah, when she tells him to go out, he's like, why would you name Devin Lannister, like our cousin, Warden of the West, and like give him he's at River Run right now doing what you're sending me to do. Like why? Like why am I have to go out? He's kind of like arguing to not leave.
Well, no, and she's like, I prefer you in red and gold. And he's like, well, you gave me this white cloak essentially. Like this is my job.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's the Jaime
make me warden
for the book is becoming more of the Kingsguard, and this he's kind of doing the Kingsguard duties, but I don't know. Like when we were talking about the theme earlier, but like I think that's what they're talking about at the earlier. She's like, you're all white now. The color's seeping out of you. You're an all white. I preferred you. She's like, I preferred you when you were backing the Lannisters. Is kind of how I see the symbolism of that. Now you're all white.
Which is funny because it's her fault to put him in the white. Track it all the way back.
Way back when. Well, and the one interesting thing, back up to when they're talking about going to River Run, the one other interesting thing Jaime brings up there is, I swore an oath not to do this. Like,
I'm not attacking the Tullys or the Starks.
Exactly. Like, I prompt.
Stupid oath. Like, you could be back at war in a heartbeat.
What do you mean? He shouldn't have agreed to it?
Yeah, let's just play, devil's advocate. Brendan Tully gets a whole host back up, and they have enough to attack King's Landing, and he has to protect Tommen.
Yeah, and if Robb didn't die, this war would still be going on.
Like, is he just gonna be like, nope, sorry, can't do my job, can't attack you?
And that's kind of the whole point, Jeff. Is when Jaime accepted it, he's like, you swear so many oaths, like they always contradict each other. It's like, what if you're bound to obey the king and protect your father, but those two contradict?
Okay, but why does this oath matter now to him?
Just like. I don't know. Do the ones you can.
Because it could be the easiest one where, like, if they want to attack Tommen, what's he going to do? Type of thing. It's two oaths that contradict each other, which he can't hold. He can't uphold both.
Well, you're right. That's a tough position. And Jaime's saying, I don't want to be put in tough positions where I can't uphold both oaths, so don't send me on this mission. Leave me here. Like, you're right. If Brendan Tully showed up, that's a problem. And what's he going to do? He's just going to have to choose one and abandon the other. But that's not what we're talking about here. Here, he's like, I can just stay here and not break this oath. You're making me go break it for nothing.
Queen told you to pack it up. You gotta go do your job.
Her argument is it was made at sword point and coerced with alcohol. Like you were drunk. So what kind of oath is that?
Yeah. Sure.
That was what I was going to say is the Brienne thing though, right? Like, so now he is putting more weight into his word.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's what I was kind of linking that to the whole Kingsguard thing. He was trying to be more honorable. Yep.
Well, as he leaves, Osmond is the person that Cersei wants in charge. And he's like, fuck that. Like, you're banging him. Not happening.
Yeah.
We're putting Loras in charge.
Yeah. It would have been Balon Swan, but you sent him away to Dorne.
Yeah, because she's like, no, fuck Loras, man. I hate that guy. He's Tyrell. And he's like, well, you sent my next best guy out, so that's on you, too.
Yep. And when they're arguing about Loras and Osmond, Jaime says, you just don't like Loras because he doesn't stare at your tits like Osmond does. And then she
ain't like that. Bam.
Smack.
Quick smack. And I mean, was this like, were they trying to say he was gay again? Like,
for sure. Jaime's definitely like kind of hinting at that, but he's also, I think, more taking a jab at Cersei that she likes just people who are easily seduced. I think
she can't seduce everybody.
100%. This is that, Jeff, because she says, I won't have Loras commanding the Kingsguard. And he says, Loras is thrice the man Osmond is. And she says, your notion of manhood have changed somewhat, brother. So she's definitely making that dig, right? Like, she's like, how could he was in love with Renly. How could he be in charge of this position?
Yeah.
So, yes, I would say that is definitely that statement. So,
good smack. And then he bails. And this is where, like, he was going through his mind, like, man, I kind of want to take her, especially during, like, the back and forth jabs. So it was like, man, this reminds me of the old times, like, right before we used to get it on. And then after the smack, it's like, actually, fuck this, I'm out.
Which I'm only thinking of this now because I did get to the end, but he smacks that dude at the end as well. Do you think that has any parallel to this one here at all? Or like, Nelson likes connecting stuff, so I want to see if I could make him connect something.
Yeah, I didn't think of it when I read it, but I thought of it just now when I reread that slap in my notes. But yeah, nothing strong comes to mind.
Okay.
All right, so Jamie's like, all right, let me get out of here. Like, I actually might need some fresh air on the road with my boys.
You know what? Maybe it's time to go.
Yep.
And so they're meeting, I guess, outside of the gate, kind of, with a smaller host of about 40.
So before he leaves, he does think quickly about
this. Yeah, sorry, there's some other stuff.
The small council, which the people have been calling the smallest council.
They're stupid.
He specifically thinks he doesn't like Qyburn or trust Qyburn.
Can't trust him. Even
though Qyburn's the one that saved his life, and he says that he was still a bloody mummer once. And we kind of get this later in the chapter. Jaime kind of has this like, I want, like that's personal with Vargo Hoat and his crew, right? The bloody mummers. Like, I want them. Like when he gets there, he was kind of hoping Vargo was at least still, he knew he wasn't still alive, but he wanted his head. Then he was hoping like Shagwell, Pig, and some of these guys are still alive. Then when he leaves Hasty, he's like, if you find any of the bloody mummers, like save them for me. And Hasty's like, why? You're gonna torture him? So like here we kind of see he doesn't like the bloody mummers, and Cersei has one left-hand man as up there, right? Big time up there. So
even if he saved my life, screw that guy. I don't trust him. Yeah. And
when he had warned Cersei that he stinks of secrets, she just said, we all have secrets, and that just made him think Osmond,
Damn, you've been banging everybody.
Yep.
You really have been doing it, haven't you? And you're not even hiding it from me. Yep. So 40 knights are meeting him here. We find out that there's more outside, but about half of them, half are his men, half are other people. Like knights that just kind of switch sides and can't really trust now. Because
when I was putting my notes in, a lot of these guys, the only time we'd heard of them before was in like one of the Sansa chapters shortly after the Blackwater, when a lot of like
people were filing back in or whatever.
Well, the ex-Stannis people were bending the knee to right anyone who had like lost and didn't flee with Stannis, who was most of them.
So Red Ronnet, is he?
So first is Sir Dormant of the Rainwood.
Yeah, you're right.
He carried Tommen's banner. The Rainwood is kind of like where Davos is from. So
he bent the knee recently.
Yep, in that Sansa chapter, right after the Blackwater. Ronnet Connington, same thing. He's from the Stormlands. Garrett Page. I think they just say Page, Piper, and Peckledon are his three squires. Their names are Garrett Page, Lewis Piper. They call him Little Lou later on. And Josmond Peckledon. The first two, Page and Piper, I think are both from the Riverlands. The Peckledon is a Westerland. So all the two people carrying the banner and two of his three squires were on the other side. One of his squires was a former Lannister loyalty guy. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. Just a lot of these guys were just former.
Well, and I mean, that's the next thing he says, right? He's like, keep them where you can see them. Like, here they are. Exactly. These two dudes got flags. They're pretty obvious, like, who they are. I'll see what's going on.
Yep.
The other guys are right next to me, my squires. So
pretty crazy to have three squires, too. He's kind of showing off.
I mean, to be fair, he does have one hand as well here. He's got a little bit.
One hand, two horses.
Yeah, more different situation than other ones. But yeah, three is a lot. I will agree. Two, I could understand.
I think it's the first time we've heard of a guy having multiple squires at one time.
I mean, also to be fair, Captain of the Kingsguard, pretty important.
I mean, he's got it. Like the president probably has more Secret Service than the vice president, right? But
he's not. He's Secret Service essentially.
Sure.
So we've heard Jaime and Merritt Frey. Remember Merritt Frey from the epilogue chapter of Storm of Swords? He's the one that goes up and gets caught by.
Yeah, but that was one person.
Well, they both squired. They knew each other because they squired together for Lord Sumner Craycall, which kind of ties it back to this chapter because Jaime thinks that the person who had told him keep your friends at your back and your foes in front of you might have been Sumner, might have been Tywin. He doesn't remember.
Okay, whatever. Yeah, I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah. So in addition to the squires, he has two horses.
Honor and Glory. He doesn't like naming them because they just die too often, which is that's been
classic advice
said before, right? Like that's like
it's from one of my favorite books. Don't want to get too far into it for fear of spoiling a show that's coming out soon. But
I mean, you could say the title of the book, Nelson.
It was some Sir Arlen advice. I'll say that. Don't name your horse because they're going to die under you. It makes it harder.
So just the other George book. We should have known it was the Hedge Knight, Jeff.
I was trying to think about what actually happened. I knew what he was getting at. If it wasn't that one, it was that not the vampire book, the nuclear bomb book that he made me read.
Wow, spoiler.
Nobody will get for what I just said there.
We have no idea what he's talking about. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, the 2 new horses. They do get names. What's the horses' names, Kyle? Kind of cool.
Honor and Glory. Jeff said them.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
And one's dressed in white, one's dressed as red and gold. So I guess depending on what he's rocking that day, he'll flip back and forth. You can't be in all white on the red and gold horse. That just doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess if you're trying to match.
I mean, does he wear red and gold though?
Seems like not anymore. That's what Cersei's complaining about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But Kenos was like, yo, throw that gold hand on, man. That shit's dope.
Yeah.
And he's like, nah, fuck it. Let him look at my stub. A little proud in it.
He's like, I don't know these people, that shit. Yeah, and I mean, this is when he's also going through, and I might be skipping a bunch, but he's noticing, right, what's happening on the way out.
Yeah, no, you're right on. So no one's there as he's riding out, but when Mace rode out, whatever, a couple days or a week ago or so, everyone was out. The townspeople were hype as shit. Marjorie was throwing flowers and kisses at him, and people were hype. And now nobody's here but a couple sparrows.
It's really obvious that they don't give a shit about the Lannisters right now. It was the Tyrells that they're kind of happy for. So, I mean, he's pretty much saying, like, look at the state of the people you have here, Cersei. Like, your subjects are they're not in a good spot. And, like, and you know, he can tell that that's gonna, or that does matter, right? Like, she thinks fuck them, right? That's definitely her.
She doesn't care.
Yeah.
As long as I'm not in immediate
they can be
threat,
mad. I'm in here.
I'm in the Red Keep. I'm cool.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. But he's like, I don't know. This is getting kind of unruly. Like, you're gonna have yourself some problems internally if you don't do something about this.
You better take care of these cats.
The only big thing I think we kind of skipped over was Jaime talks that he had 2 kind of stipulations. Okay, I'll leave King's Landing, but I get these 2 boys. You got to give me my 2 boys.
Oh, Ilan Payne.
Ilan. And we kind of find out, I guess, why throughout the chapter.
Yeah.
There's one main use. Sure. And Adam Morbrand, who just was his boy, like one of his friends from like
from the olden days, from the younger boy days.
He's an actual Lannister boy. Yep. Not an actual Lannister.
He's so I just want to bring my best friend with me.
Let me get my guy.
Yeah.
Ilan, I thought it was cool. Later we get a little Ilan backstory too, which is probably the first
Well, we kind of hear about his quarters later. Here we kind of, I don't know if
gross as fuck.
Yeah, gross. Here we do learn his backstory right here.
I think we knew most of it.
Yeah.
This might be something that we don't actually learn till here, but maybe Jeff and I accidentally spoiled thinking that we knew
I don't think you spoiled it. I feel like it came out in pieces.
Okay.
I feel like we got to it eventually. I didn't really remember it either for what that's worth. Like I if you would have said I read it on Monday or 2 days ago. If you would have said it 3 days ago, I wouldn't have remembered. So it was fine. Don't worry.
So kind of cool. Yeah, we get the story of how he lost his tongue. Basically, he was the captain of the guard for Tywin when he was in King's Landing, like basically like Ned when Ned had a captain of the guard when he was in King's Landing, Jory, I guess. And I guess he was heard to say that he was actually the one ruling the kingdom, not Aerys, and Aerys had his tongue out for it.
Probably deserved it, right? That's pretty much treason. He's probably lucky it was just his tongue.
Yeah, Robert might have done that to Jory. Jory was talking that Ned was actually the one in charge. So yeah, it does sound like Mad King shit, but just seems like a little hot-tempered king shit.
I feel like that's just king shit. Like you can't be letting that shit slide around your ranks.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a bit of an overreaction.
I don't know. I feel like he could have chopped his whole head off for that.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I feel like he showed a little bit of self-control.
I mean, could you imagine not being able to speak for the rest of your life?
No, I couldn't.
And then add on top of that you can't read or write.
Yeah.
So it's not even like you have like any communication. Well, I mean, you have very basic communication.
He's just a clicker.
Yeah.
He gets drunk all the time.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, but like, how perfect is that job for him, right? Like, what a like a dude fit for a role. Well, because he's huge too, right? Like, is he big or am I wrong?
I don't think he's small.
I don't think he's like fat, but I think he's relatively tall.
No, I thought he's like tall and kind of intimidating, imposing, almost like just imposing. That's the word. Yep.
Yeah.
And we learned that he had been a wedding gift.
I didn't miss that.
No. The appointment of King's Justice had been a wedding gift to Cersei and Tywin from Robert. So when Robert married Cersei, he's like, okay, I'll take your boy.
Give him this cool position.
Yeah. So that's how he got it.
Which I don't know, Jeff, if I agree. He seems to like the position.
He seems to like it. I don't know
if I would call this cool position. This would not be a job.
He's got a title. I will take cool title. Cool title.
Oh yeah, and he's close to the king, and yeah, he's got some money, I'm sure. Well, I guess he lives in shithole, so maybe not.
Yeah,
he doesn't care about that.
Anyway. That unless he's buying the wine. Yeah.
So where he lives is in between the top floor of the dungeons, where like the highborn people would get kept, and like the first actual underground or no windows room of the dungeon. And he would be there with the chief jailer, the Lord Confessor, and then the King's Justice. But there is no Lord Confessor. That's just like Lord Torturer. That we haven't had one of those. Jaime says since Dare on the Second's days.
What another fucked position.
The last chief jailer, he'd most likely purchase the role of chief jailer from Littlefinger just to like do nothing and I guess have a decent like title, or probably something more schemy. But he had the role for a few years, and then that guy got launched out of the city with antlers nailed to his head during the Battle of Blackwater because he was one of the ones conspiring with Stannis. So there was no chief jailer right now, which left our boy Rennifer Longwaters, who's the head under jailer, to open the door, and he's the one that led Jaime to Ilyn's cell, which was just bad.
Was this guy around during Tyrion's escape?
Jaime went and questioned this guy after Tyrion's escape. Okay, we've heard him before.
That's kind of what I meant. I guess it's like, did we hear or talk to him before? I feel like I remember the under jailer position.
Yeah, how crazy that like these important positions just haven't been filled. Like, or like either like fuck it, we don't have the money to fill these positions. You know,
I would say that was
you do them all, or like nah, whatever, we don't need them.
Well, I think when Rennifer was talking to Jaime the first time, he said like, there's only like 7 prisoners in this whole dungeon, and we pay the staff for like 12 like jailers and under jailers. Like basically, he says there's too many people. Like we're
overstaffed and under prisons.
Yeah, so I guess there's not enough prisoners to need to do this. Why? I don't know. You'd think there would be in a city this big, but
yeah. I mean, if anything, I don't know. I guess you don't want to pay the more important role.
Is this the Red Keeps jail, or is this the city jail? That's another question.
That's a good point. It's probably just Maegor's Holdfast jail. I don't know.
So, like, are these like?
I think it has to be
pretty important prisoners.
I guess.
Or like, so you're because I guess this is kind of to you. Or is there other locations where these good people could be held? That
I mean, there has to be. There's over 1 million people in
a city. Yeah. There's no way there's really 7 unless, well, I guess Joffrey does kill a lot of people, or did kill a lot of people.
That's true. With the previous king, you never know. But we've never heard them to be like full to bursting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all 12 of them or whatever.
I just mean like when Robert was in charge, like Ned,
I know, that's
Ned
what
was
saying,
down there shortly after, right? And like
also too, just like send them to the wall, right? Like
yeah, but we didn't hear too. That's true. Yoren was just here too, so maybe it just got emptied out by him. We don't know actually how many he got from here. I don't think, but.
It wasn't many.
None of it matters, and we're going too long for this chapter.
All right. What else do you want to say about Ilyn? How much he shit himself and...
Yeah, his place is just horrible. The only thing in his room, like there's clothes everywhere, rusted armor, broken wine jars.
The rusted armor is kind of crazy. Like you're literally... like
that's kind of important, I guess. I mean, if you're just beheading people, it's not that important.
But he was probably on the front lines of the Blackwater. Like he was doing something.
I don't know. It's a big because he was with Cersei, right? He was there.
Oh, true.
Is that from the show?
I mean, all right, but if they broke in, like say you actually lost and like you,
well, he might have been standing there in that shitty armor, but like, I don't know that he needed to be presentable.
Yeah, that kind of makes him more scary a little bit too. Is being in like nasty armor kind of goes to his like tall, gaunt vibe.
Yeah, like until you actually need it and until you're actually fighting somebody.
Did you ever see House of a Thousand Corpses?
No.
Or Devil's Rejects? They're Rob Zombie horror movies. All right. Well, the one dude's kind of like Lurch. Do you know Lurch? Like I feel like he's from like the Addams Family, like big, but he like doesn't talk. He's called Tiny, but that's kind of how I picture Ilyn Payne, I guess. So like he's just like this terrifying dude. If he was in clean armor, it would be weird as shit. Is the way I kind of see it. If that makes sense. See that.
But to not like have at least one pair of clean armor for like when you actually need it, I think it's pretty stupid. But maybe he just says, "Fuck it, I'll just drink and die if I need to."
I think he's just probably like he's probably out of his gourd at this point. Like I said, he can't talk to anybody, so he's probably like crazy. And so like it's just his all his mannerisms are probably weird. He's probably just a strange dude. Well, that too, yeah.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing is the only clean thing in his whole room is his sword. He said that's immaculate, very well kept.
That's his job.
Everything else is disgusting.
Yeah, so like he's doing his job, right? Like how you can't get mad at him. He's a little gross, a little weird.
I think the armor is interesting, like we were saying, because that also is kind of part of it. Could be seen as part of his job. But again, neither here nor there. It doesn't really matter. Jaime's like, hey, do you want to come with me? This place looks like it sucks. You can't want to stay here. And he just kind of like stares at him, doesn't say anything. And then when Jaime's about to leave, he gives him a nod. And Jaime Jaime looks at him, and here he rides. Jaime glances at his companion. Perhaps there is yet hope for the both of us. Seemed like an important quote. Didn't really know what it means. I have just question marks next to it. Wanted to toss that to you guys.
So earlier he's like talking about how this guy obviously only cares about the sword, which is only about killing, which is his job, which is like he is enjoying his job, right? And that is not okay. And so essentially what he's saying here, I think, is like, okay, there's some hope for him to see that maybe there's more to life than just fucking hacking heads off.
Yeah. Come out of the deep pit that we were both living in. Hit Jaime more metaphorically, Ilan more literally.
Exactly.
Yeah. I want to ask the question now. Like, do we think really Jaime only wanted to bring him just so he could train with someone who couldn't say how bad I suck at fighting?
So far, it seems like the main reason. Yeah. Doesn't seem like Jaime's doing out of the goodness of his heart.
Like he obviously can't ask him for counsel and shit like that. Like, and maybe he's a good enough fighter that he could trust to like stay a Lannister man. Like if shit would go hairy, but
for sure, I think he trusts him. I think he also like said he knows for sure he's not going to blab anything about it. And like I think it's multi-purpose. I think he wanted to train with him for that reason.
I mean, how hard is it to play charades? Like you'd like point at Jaime and be like, "Woo, bad swinging technique."
But then Jaime is going to see that, I think, right? Like he knows this guy isn't going to be talking behind his back. Also, this guy has already suffered a severe consequence for talking shit on the king.
Yeah, he might have.
So like this is a guy that has that if anybody is going to be like already have gone through the awfulness of that. Right? Like, I feel like he knows.
I was going to say what you did too, though, Jeff. If you had enough time and you really wanted to get it out, charades would get the job done. I feel like we talked about this already with, like, because Euron's whole crew doesn't have any tongues. I feel like we had a similar talk about this with Euron's crew, and that's what I was going to say. I think the interesting thing about Ilan is he kind of has parallel to that. Euron's crew doesn't have tongues, so they can't talk about anything Euron might have been up to. Like, again, that seems like one of their, like, purposes, but we said, is that really true? And then one of the other ones cool is Brienne is now on the road with Podrick Payne, and here Jaime is on the road with Ilan Payne.
2 Paynes. Wow.
So I think that's the other cool thing about Ilan.
Yeah. All right, let's pop on through. So he's gross. He ends up wanting to leave his gross room to go. There's about 1,000 men that are outside the walls waiting for the party.
Yep.
There's already a big army. You know, there's some Lannister men, there's some Frey men already at River Run kind of sieging it. And then they know that the Mountain's men are still hopefully kept up in Harrenhal. So and everybody's struggling to eat. There's no food in the Riverland, so more people would be not good. And he's weary, right? The Whispering Woods got him on edge. He never wants to be taken off guard again. So Marbrand is out scouting, and he's just enjoying the silent ride with Ilan, just a ride through the country.
Yep. So list of names of the main people he has in the column. At least, again, like we get important people mentioned later that aren't mentioned here, but Adam Marbrand is the Outriders guy. Stefan Swift had the baggage train. Harry Swift is the new hand. So it seems like there's probably a relation there. We don't know how, though. Sir Bonifer Hasty and his Holy 100. We hear more about them later. They're who's staying in Harrenhal. Sarsfield's mounted archers. Then they have a Maester Gullion, with 4 cages of ravens and Sir Flement Brax in charge of 200 heavy horse. So yeah, that's like the main bulk of his crew.
A lot of letters to send on the road. They're prepared.
Well, it seems like this guy's staying at Harrenhal, and Bonifer kind of alludes to this later. I was wondering if this is the point of them pointing this out. It's like he might be working with the other castles nearby, specifically Lancel at Derry and Randall at Maidenpool. And maybe that's why you have ravens, is so you can be obviously you can send riders because you're only like a day or two away, but
hunt outlaws.
Yeah, maybe to help with communication with that stuff. But who knows?
So first spot we come up to is Lady Hayford's home. I forget. I don't know what the castle's called.
Hayford.
Hayford Hall.
Yep, for House Hayford.
It's classic. And Lady Hayford calls him up for supper.
Where is this? How far out of King's Landing is this?
I think we're still in the Crownlands.
I don't think I have a map for you guys for this one.
You don't need a map. How far? Like, is this halfway to
One day's ride.
Okay, so like not far out of the. Okay,
not far.
I think the whole time it takes like maybe a week to 2 weeks to get to Harrenhal.
Okay, so it's still pretty close. I just didn't know.
They mentioned being kind of close with another like Crownsland person, right? I feel like that came up. I don't know if I wrote down who, but
yeah. Well, the next stop they have says that they swear fealty to this house.
Yeah. So I mean, there's more Crownlands to go right before we get to Riverland area. So, but the Lady Hayford's a baby. It's like a 1-year-old.
I think she's like 2 or 3 at this point. Yeah, we've heard of her before.
Okay.
She got, and Jaime kind of thinks it here. She got married to Tyrek Lannister.
Yeah.
Who went missing in the riot. So that's why we've heard of her before, is because, well, for whatever reason, we heard of this marriage happening.
Yeah.
And how people used to make fun of Tyrek. Because Tyrek, I mean, he was young. He was like 12, but at the time he was married like a 2-year-old. So all the other squires are making fun of him and stuff, I think.
Jaime did throw in the gold hand for dinner. And the one cool trick with the hand is that he can hold a wine glass.
Well, sometimes.
Well, yeah, he might fumble it around a little bit. He's still learning. I also think it's stupid. Like, I mean, obviously, he lost his strong hand, right? So he really needs to get his left hand right. But pirates have been rocking hooks for a long time, and he says it here. Like,
he does say that.
He needs to be Captain Hook spinning this thing off. Like, when he goes to war, he should be like spinning a dagger on there, or like
have different types.
Something on there. Like,
a trident.
Don't just have the hand of Midas and that's your only deal. Like, get another.
He
strap
ends up
on.
using it for the shield. He needs an adjustment to hold his shield better, but he does say that he kind of uses the hand to wrap around the shield, and it kind of works.
Probably like kind of open grip E-shaped hand, like kind of thing, like
G.I.
that.
Joe hand. G.I. Joe hand.
You think it's like C-shaped, like thumb and fingers just out straight, and he just props it in. Well, here I have a wine glass.
I think he said with this shield, it's slightly wrapped, but it's not grasping. So I think it's more.
Okay.
And then you just got to balance it and then bring it to his face. Like, that's not hard. Drink with the other hand. Just
exactly.
What are you doing?
Yeah, make it a fist at least or something, right?
Yeah. So somebody, Kyle, read the description of the hand real quick.
The hand was wrought of gold, very lifelike, with inlaid nails of mother of pearl. Its fingers and thumb half closed so as to slip around a goblet's stem. I cannot fight, but I can drink, Jaime reflected as the lad was tightening the straps that bound it to his stump. Men shall name you Golden Hand from this day forth, my lord. The armor had assured him the first time he fitted it onto Jaime's wrist. He was wrong. I shall be the Kingslayer till I die.
Yeah, so cool little quote because it mentions the hand. One thing that definitely doesn't have in the show is that his hand does not have mother of pearl fingernails.
That's weird. Yeah, I feel like that would be like...
It's a little too much, I think, but who knows?
A weird, I don't know, weird color combination to me, but... I'd have to see it.
Probably goes well with his all white.
Yeah, true.
Kingsguard get up. But yeah, then this guy is also the guy who says, "Oh, you're gonna go by Golden Hand." And then Jaime does a few things later on, just kind of like really in passing that he's like, "Oh, maybe I will get Golden Hand." So as a name,
I'll always be the Kingslayer. Yep. So
if he goes around slapping people with it all the time, he'll be a Golden Hand.
Yeah. So Tyrek is still out and about. We haven't seen that boy since the riot of King's Landing.
Yep, decent amount of Tyrek talk there. I will say there are theories in the fandom of what's up with Tyrek, so maybe a little spoiler: we don't find out until the end of the book what happened with Tyrek. But it was a big meme theory in the fandom, and I just had to kind of point it out to throw homage to it. I forget. I should know who came up with it, but there was a big theory that Tyrek is a horse because there's a line in this chapter where Morbrand says the boy was last seen a horse.
Stop it. He warged into a
lot
horse.
of like, this person is a horse. This person, just because that happens. That turn of phrase happens.
That boy was eaten in flea bottom. He ended up in a pot of brown.
So,
all right, and then I think the one thing about thinking about Tyrek was he was like, that riot seemed pretty planned. Who would have did that? My guy Varys.
Well, at the dinner, he's like, he's dead. He's dead like everybody else. Don't worry about it. But yeah, later on, he's like, oh, you know what? Actually, it is, Varys is kind of weird. Like, he wasn't at the riot. Could it have been planned? If it was, like, maybe not planned, or if someone knew about it ahead of time, it would have been Varys.
I mean,
so
my man Varys might have just like put 2 and 2 together here and been like, there's going to be a riot here.
Exactly. So then what? But then the Tyrek thing, are you implying that he sent people to be ready in the crowd for this and snatch Tyrek when the time comes?
No. I'm not saying anybody snatched him on purpose. I'm saying, well, I guess what I'm saying is just that, like, maybe Varys knew that, like, this wasn't going to be a good situation, so he didn't go down. Like, he wasn't part of it for that reason. Like, doesn't mean he was shady.
Sure, but one thing Jaime thinks here is he didn't tell us about it. He didn't warn us.
Yeah,
that's what he's there for, is to tell us.
I know, but I mean, like, it's like right now where Jaime is seeing that the city is very full of tension and hatred towards the Lannisters. Like, they should have read the room a little bit, maybe.
Well, and we know that's how Varys works too. Is like, if he has information and there's nothing really he gets out of telling you.
He's going
to keep that till he does have something that he can get out of it for telling you. So,
Yep. So that pisses Jaime off, and he's like, all right, where the fuck's Ilyn at? Let's go to town. And he gets slapped around all night by Ilyn. Bloodied and bruised.
When I was actually reading it, he didn't do great, but he didn't do horrible.
He thinks he does.
Ilyn's literally laughing at him later on.
That's true.
He's like, I beat the shit out of you, and I'll beat the shit out of you again.
But what it says is like he is like blocking and trading blows, I guess.
It doesn't sound like Ilyn's even that good. The way Jaime talked about him, he was like, like, all right, like he can kind of do some things. Like he's not nearly as strong as Brienne, and like he's like kind of blocking me, but like, bam, now he's hitting me in the head, knee, shoulder. Fuck,
he's playing against a JV team and still losing. Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
Well, he's also not a fighter, right? We went over this earlier. He's the headsman. That's his job. It's just cut heads off.
Last time he actually trained.
Well, he used to be the captain of the guards. Like,
I know, but he's not doing anything like that anymore.
He's just sitting around shitting himself and getting drunk. Yeah. All right, but once they saw him in the morning, he was like, "Yeah, just a lot of love bites around here, man. The girls got after me last night."
None of the high lords or knights asked him about the bruises or about any sword play they heard, because they're just playing in the yard. Like, they're not really like hiding it, at least the first night. But no one said anything except when he got back down to camp. Yeah, his little squire's like, "What's up? What the fuck happened to you?" He's like, "Love bites. You got some lusty wenches in House Hayford there, lad."
And I bet they don't ask questions about that. Like, they're not going to be like, "Yo, did you really find like which one? Like who'd you
squire's
bang
like,
last
you
night?
see what he did?"
Well, I kind of thought they knew it was bullshit, I guess, but maybe I'm wrong.
I don't think the squires did. I think the older heads probably figured it out. But,
yeah.
Okay.
All right. So every night they're like finding spots to train, and he's trying to find like quiet spot, but I mean, swords ringing through the night, like somebody's hearing that shit.
Well, it's wooden, I think, right? They're training swords.
Tourney swords. I think that just dull, like steel.
Yeah, I thought they were dull steel, but
gotta get used to the weight.
Even if it was wood, like thick
clacking,
ass wood clacking, and like a hall that's like ringing out. Like, I don't know. I'd be like trying to sleep and like, what the fuck is that noise?
I do like how they're fighting kind of like in different Mortal Kombat arenas, like they're like in the stables, in the yard, or there's some other crazy place in the basement or something at one point, right? Like
and the other thing is like they can't go too far because the next thing we hear is there's wolves everywhere. Like literally, like you can't leave the column. One guy literally got off his horse. His horse like kind of fucked off for a minute, and they just found his body like destroyed by wolves. So.
Yeah, so we're definitely getting further up the King's Road, and you can see that the war has touched this part of the land, which I think it's actually like it's almost regrown, and overgrown, right? The fields and whatnot, which that's how I like.
I mean,
the
weeds
grass
don't
is
take
really
that long,
high, right?
But yeah,
weeds
you're
are
right.
as high as a horse, and
yeah, but
like when I think of like land touched by war, I'm thinking of like the all the burned lands and the burned keeps that they passed. Like I wouldn't think that it was like overgrown
dry
grass already. Yeah.
I think you'd be surprised at how fast nature comes back, right? Like, I'm not saying like trees are there or anything, but like, I mean, it does start to
like burned soil does become better soil, right?
It can, yeah. The nutrients can get back into the earth that way. Some places need a burn. Like it's natural, yeah. I mean, it's just when it gets massive that it's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. So they came across the tower, and there's a hog in there. Little round dude that's holding on to a little tower with about 6 people, right?
Yep. Roger Hogg. Sowshorn. That's what the place is called, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 men at arms, 4 crossbowmen, and a score of peasants. I think scores 20. So
kind of reminds me of the spot in
Sworn Sword.
Sworn Sword, yeah.
Yeah, that's what vibes I was getting too. Maybe a little bit bigger, twice as big, 3 times as big, maybe. But yeah, still definitely on the small side. The dude kind of, I guess, had the crate call look to him. Or his sigil was a boar. It's unclear because
I think the sigil was 2 boars, right? And
the sigil of Crakehall is a boar. So he says like this guy had like a look to him in the sigil.
Did they call this guy Strong Boar or something like that?
No, that's another guy.
And his name's Hogg, and he lives at Sowshorn, right? So both pigs.
He's got related. A lot of pig related, yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't really matter, but Strong Boar, who is actually, his name is Lyle Crakehall. Jaime says Strong Boar a lot. This guy's real name is Sir Lyle Crakehall. So this guy starts chatting this guy's ear off about his lineage, thinking, oh, maybe we could be related. So Jaime didn't really care. He wanted to hear what's been going on recently. So what's been going on recently with this guy?
Wolves. White Star Wolves.
What's that mean, Kyle?
I don't know.
Karstarks.
Oh, okay.
Karstark sigil is a white sunburst on black.
Okay, that makes sense. I thought it was actual wolves here, but that makes more sense than
I actually didn't. I didn't put that 2 and 2 together.
So that's the White Star Wolves because they came looking for Jaime.
This is like the green and red apple fossil areas. It's the White Star Wolves. Okay.
Yeah, so the White Star Wolves, they came looking for Jaime, which makes sense because the whole kind of Karstark falling out happened after Jaime got let go. So, yep. But they saw them off and they killed 3 of them and buried them down by the turnips.
Yeah. Didn't Armory fuck them up too?
Well, yeah. Armory shows up later. Yep.
That's the next line here. Yeah, as he says, then that was before before them was a pack of bloody lions. Sorry for calling them bloody lions, but the one had a manicore on his shield, and then he's like, "Oh, that's Amory Lorch." My dad kind of told him to do that.
Yep.
Like, sorry
about that. We told him to harry the Riverlands, and this is the guy that, even though now they're at least like 6 days or 5 days away from Lady Hayford, this guy's still like, I swear fealty to Lady Hayford.
Yeah, what the fuck, man?
It's not the Riverlands. Like, what the fuck? The next day they do cross a river. That's the border, so he's close. But he's like, yeah, Lorch didn't care. He killed my animals and tried to burn my tower, but I have tower walls 8 feet thick stone. Like, that's kind of crazy for a small little holdfast, right?
Not when it's all you got. You got to protect that shit.
Well, yeah, and if you got nothing but time and you can just keep adding layers
on after,
right? Like maybe it's a foot when it started, and like year after year they just add layer and layer around the outside.
It's true.
Yep. So they continued on the road, hanging bandits and thinking of Brienne is my note. So
Roger, before they leave, he asked Jaime, "What should we do?" Like then actual wolves came and ate the rest of our sheep. We killed some wolves, have some pelts, but like pelts aren't going to keep our bellies full. Like, what should we do? And Jaime's like, just plant and hope for another harvest. But he's like, that's
good luck.
Like, good luck, really. He's
that
like,
shit ain't happening.
Nothing's going to help you, really.
Yeah, and they don't have the means to help either. It's not like Jaime can really do much about it, right? Not here.
Not right now. Yeah. He ain't got. He didn't bring much, but 1,000 people to put some shit in order.
Yep. So next they cross the river. The Maester tells them that they're technically in the lands of the brothers Woad. We have seen one Woad before. He was one of the crew that went with Cat and Tyrion. He when Cat was in the inn capturing Tyrion, she's like, "Who's going to swear to me?" It's not quite how it happened, but he was one of the people that joined her and helped take Tyrion. So, but there's the Woad's place is gone to shit now. There's nobody here. There's no Woads here. There's no small folk. There are some outlaws hiding in the cellar of one of the places, and Jaime hangs them all, even the one in a crimson cloak. And the quote is, "It felt good. This was justice. Make a habit of it, Lannister. And one day men might call you Golden Hand after all. Golden Hand the just." Like, okay, Jaime, you... First off, I think there might be some parallels here. We don't have to go into it, but to what Maribald was saying to Brienne about broken men. If they're just wearing their cloaks still, they're definitely just like from an army. They're like, I'm out. What am I doing here anyway?
Yeah.
Right. So maybe they didn't deserve death. I think there's some parallels to that later with this Bonifer guy, the religious guy later. But
Maribald would have helped him up, said some prayers with him.
Exactly. So
especially if they didn't do anything, right? Like they're just hiding in the basement of this house, it seems. That's all we've heard. I guess at least.
To Jaime's point is like, why wouldn't you try to make it back to us, type of thing?
Well, it's only one of them's a Lannister. Exactly. Like, I think we don't know enough about.
But
this.
Why did that guy not keep going south to be back with us? Is probably why Jaime, like, you abandoned us, type of thing.
How do you just hang him right away, though? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think we know enough about it. But then he thinks, Brienne.
Yeah,
he thinks of Brienne. He's like, maybe she came this way. Maybe I should be asking after a young maid with auburn hair or a big ugly one.
It's funny how he's so called. Like, he's thinking about her being ugly, but he's thinking about her a lot, you know?
Well, and then he defends her, someone who's doing the same thing later. Like, he's thinking about her like that here, and then he defends her to this exact similar thing later. So, but yeah, then he says there's no travelers to ask, only wolves on this road. So, again, like, sounds like actual wolves are all over the place.
Even if it was the Karstarks, like, you're not having a conversation with them either.
And they're howling hell no answers. So it sounds like they're loud too, right? Like this is the pack for sure that we've heard about, obviously.
Well, and that's what Maribald was saying in the last chapter. He's like, their howls are crazy.
Yeah. Drives everything nuts.
That's how you know how many there are.
Do you think just because Jaime's back out on the road, if the Karstarks are actually still out there, would someone try to capture Jaime to be Lord Karstark? Like, I know that's been a long time ago, but that was the mission, right?
That's true. It's a good question. He's got a lot of protection now, though. He's got like
Sure. He's got a whole army. He's not by himself with Brienne and Cleos, but I'm just saying, like, maybe somebody try something funny.
Yeah.
All right, so they come up to Harrenhal. Let's get this shit in order. Literal Shitmouth is the only one that talks to him at the beginning.
Yeah.
Cool character. Cool nickname.
Funny character, and also I looked at my notes. What we have on him basically, it's like he was like one of the least bad. Like, this guy's not on Arya's list. A lot of the Mountains men on Arya's list. Arya was like, yeah, he had a bad mouth, but like he would give you like an extra scrap of bread or whatever. Like,
I don't remember Shitmouth being mentioned, so that, like, yeah, he must not have been.
It's just funny, like he sounds like he would be one of the worst, right?
Yeah, he just curses a lot.
Just talks a lot of shit. Exactly. Yeah, fuck me with the spear.
Again, I'm sure he's not a good guy. I don't want to take me on like he's a good guy.
He's the best of the worst.
Yeah, exactly. Seems like it. So kind of cool.
Yeah. But he's like, yo, who's in charge of this place? Shitmouth. No one's talking, right? Everyone just kind of looking at Jaime, and then Shitmouth comes out and tells him, like, everyone's kind of dying. Who was put in charge? Like, Mountain had to go. He put Polliver in charge. He got killed by the Hound, and with the Tickler and another cat. And so we're just kind of chilling.
Yep. Before that, actually, to get in, I think one cool thing is to get in, Jaime has Sir Kennis of Case sound the horn of Herrick. Never heard of this before, but kind of cool. And after 3 blasts, the gates open.
They open up.
It worked.
Well, I'm just, again, horn blast, 3 of them, 3 horn blasts.
Wildlings. Others.
And Jaime all in white. I think this is a chapter that, again, I agree with you guys. I don't love it, but I bet you after Winds of Winter, or maybe the book after that comes out, this is one that's going to have like a bunch of like foreshadowy type parts in it.
Okay. Also, this horn is black and twisted and banded with old gold. It kind of, I know the other one was like red runes or something. I don't know. It just kind of felt similar vibes to the dude from Euron's chapter there that was blowing that crazy horn too. I don't know. That
one was massive, but
yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, again, horns is what I'm saying. Yep. Yeah. So there's another guy who's talking alongside Shitmouth. We find out it's Raff,
the Sweetling.
Raff the Sweetling. That is who it is. Yep. Who's just another one of the Mountains men who we've heard of before.
The other guys here, Polliver and Tickler, those are the ones that we already, like, Arya was part of that. She's the little boy that they get into later.
They're pretty much right here. Yep. Arya's just a little boy. The Hound killed them. They didn't see it firsthand, but they heard it from the innkeep and the whores. Again, I don't think they were whores. I think they were just like the innkeep's
serving ladies.
Daughter, exactly.
Yeah, it might have been his daughters, actually.
But yeah, they heard it from them that the guy who did it had the burned up face, so they pretty sure. And Jaime's like, well, why didn't you go after him?
I like how he's like, that's a job we leave for our A-team, man. That's for you, dude. Like, I'm not gonna go fucking fight.
I ain't trying to fight the Mountain
guy. Or the Hound. Yeah.
I also like how they call him Sir. They call the
Sir.
Sir.
Yeah, the Mountain.
Like, we're leaving him for our betters. Like, you were Sir. Just because none of them are knights. He's the only knight. So
I wouldn't be surprised if the Mountain was like, yo, if we do come across him, you leave him for me, type of thing.
Yeah.
So are we at Hote yet?
Right before that, yeah, so Jaime tells Raff, okay, gather everybody, get him in the Great Hall, including the prisoners. I want them too. I guess he doesn't actually gather them. He just goes and sees them later. But yeah, and he's like, and I want Hote's head. So then they bring it to him.
Yeah, Hote's dead. His head's fucked up. Rotted.
This is just like, let me confirm, right?
I think so. Probably a guy that was on Jaime's list, so he's like, all right, like, if I couldn't do it, let me at least see what he looks like now.
I get the hint that Jaime wanted to, like, do something to it, like put it on a spike at King's Landing or piss on it or something, but after he hears the story, he's like, I don't want it.
It is fucked.
There's a line that says, like, revenge didn't, I don't know, he didn't want revenge anymore or something like that. Like, it
somehow revenge had lost its savor.
Yeah. And then he tossed the head away.
I mean, he suffered for sure, right? Like, the mountain was cut off limb by limb and then feeding it to the captives, which, I mean, that didn't hurt Hope, but and just himself. Like being alive while your fingers, then your arms and your legs just disappearing away. And he had to eat it, right, to stay alive. That's kind of fucked up.
Well, and it's kind of poetic that they started with his hands and feet because that was like the Hope thing. He would cut off people's hands and feet. I think it's also funny, like, the fat captive was hungry and he kept begging for food, so
Manderley.
We tried out to Manderley.
You gotta eat.
He gets some roast goat, so
he thought it was a he thought it was a mew thing. Jaime makes fun of him.
Got to miss old Vargo.
It was a good chapter to read. All right. So Jaime gives command to Sir Bonifer.
Yep.
And he was like, yo, you guys can either come or you can stay. You choose. What do you want to do?
And they're like, yo, we're old. Like, sir, promise us gold. Where's the gold?
We're supposed to be rich here. Give me my money.
And Bonifer's like, well, if you join me, you'll get some land. Then you get some more land when you're married, and you get some more land when you have a kid.
Not a bad
Pretty good deal. Yeah. America should think about this deal.
With the population crisis?
Do we have a population crisis? Yeah. No, right? Do we?
Yeah. Everywhere.
Yeah, we do.
The world does, pretty much.
I know Japan did, but I thought they were the only ones.
All right. So the Mounds men probably weren't happy. And I don't know. Did they say which way they're coming? Maybe we'll know when they actually leave Harrenhal, how many people come.
Well, later on, Bonifer's like, I'm not taking them. So it doesn't really matter. He offers it here, maybe because they're speaking up
just in front of him.
But he decides later, like, no, they're not. They're not
and he says, take the girl too, right? That's later on. They have dinner. So he takes time to talk to the captives. They looked okay, which I guess he just wanted to take a quick little look at them.
Yep.
So they're okay. And does he get Willis?
He checks on him. He's good. He mentioned that some of the captives are missing like fingers and like.
That happens sometimes.
Some are fucked up. Like some of them got tortured or just got
they were a little bumped and bruised, but like they weren't.
They're all gonna live.
Malnourished, right?
Like, they're all gonna live.
Yeah. All right. So he has dinner with Bonifer that night.
Well, and the one prisoner, Pia, is just like when he walks by, she's all over him.
Well, we remember her from Arya chapters, like really early, where she was like talking about the one was sleeping with all the mummers and whatever, all the.
Yeah, she got in trouble. I think when Roose took over. Roose put her and some of the other women who were sleeping with Lannisters in the stockades and just like for the use of not just like in the stockades, but like, hey, anybody who wants to come rape these women. So, and then when Jaime was through here, she got sent to him and she seemed kind of lively in that chapter. Like she got over, maybe not, she didn't get over it, but you wouldn't know that she had been through a lot in that Jaime when she was with him before.
I don't remember what she was throwing at him.
Well, she had crawled into bed with him. Yeah,
she was in bed and she wanted to have sex with him. I think he was like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
So.
But before we got there, even Shagwell, Pig, and Zolo is who he wishes were here. Those are the three that Brienne found?
She did not kill Zolo. She killed Shagwell, Pig, and Timian. So, but yeah. And Jaime lists a few more of them later.
Yeah, I would have thought good call on those names because I thought those three for sure were the three.
Yep, not Zolo. Zolo is the one that cut his hand off.
Big boy.
Big fat boy.
Was he Dothraki or?
Yeah. Yep. All right. So he didn't want Pia, get him out, and then he had 86 men with him, Bonifer, right? They were the Holy 100 or something like that?
Yep. Lost a few, but still 86 men. Yep. Or Holy 100.
And he thinks that they'll be able to hold the castle with that number.
Or he's going to he thinks he'll probably refill back up to the Holy 100, just has a better ring to it than the Holy 86. He just got to find
14 cats.
Some religious enough people. Who are religious enough,
He'll figure it out, yeah.
But yeah, like that sounds like a way too little of people to hold Harrenhal. Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
nobody wants Harrenhal.
They're not really under threat, and like you just close the gates. I don't know. What do you mean? Like, what do they need to do here?
I don't know. Nobody wants Harrenhal either. Like, it's literally
like
a ruin. It's haunted. People are scared of it.
They're just kind of here as like just presence, right? Like it's like a minor. Like they're in a pretty safe area.
I guess if it's just them, like what happened to Vargo was one of the guys who got the cook who got his foot cut off by Vargo opened the back door to let Gregor in. That's how Vargo lost control. So you better make sure you can do the whole lock up thing, but you better make sure every single person inside the castle is on your side. So
I mean, like who's here though at that point, and who's coming here?
Yeah,
like I feel like you're like what you say is great in wartime.
Like, is Barrack's crew even enough to like come take it over, or like the
over 100 men? Yeah, they could probably get 100 men together. They just got to get a door opened
inside a locked castle.
Do they have 100 men?
They could probably scrounge 100 men together. Yeah,
they're probably more scared of the.
They're more of like a dispersed army.
I bet you they're more scared of the wolves than they're scared of the men.
Yeah, I don't think Barrack's army like comes into castles like that. Or not even army. His group of people. They seem like they.
Yeah, whatever.
A little smaller time than that. Yeah.
But we learned that Bonifer was actually Cersei's appointment, not Jaime's pick.
Well, Jaime didn't pick it, but it's through Cersei. But Jaime doesn't think Cersei had the idea. He thinks it was Orton Merryweather's idea. Because Bonifer used to serve Orton's grandfather, who was the Hand. the Bonifer used to serve Orton's grandfather. He's like, oh, let's give me, I don't know. I guess he's a family friend, kind of, is how I see that.
Throw him a bone here. Give him.
And they call him Sir Bonifer the Good because he's very holy and everything. So Jaime thinks he just thought that the Good was a good counter to like the Mountain and
all this other horrible shit
these,
that's
like,
been
the bads, basically.
Yeah. But he's like, can these holy men even fight? Like, they're not. Are they going to get dunked on? Which I guess is your point now. It's like, if people actually came that could fight and these guys can't, they're going to lose pretty quickly.
If they had to do something, yeah. Plus, theoretically, they're going to be going out trying to capture outlaws too, not just sit here. So,
I don't know. I feel like Jaime knows that they're up to this task enough, right? Like, I don't think it's that dangerous, is all I'm trying to say. Like, I think it's going to be these small groups. Like, we saw 3 outlaws in a basement. You know, like, they're going to be outnumbering everybody for the most part, and it's just going to be kind of like they're there as to show face.
Okay. Next thing, all I have is like really just a little more talk on the Holy 100, Holy 86. They all had really fancy horses. Did we say that? Really tall geldings, gray geldings, and I guess Littlefinger had once joked that maybe the men had also been gelded, so spotless was their reputation. So yeah, just like pious guys.
Yeah,
don't know if they can fight. What we've been saying.
But he's pretty confident that they can clean up Harrenhal. We can get it back on track.
Yeah, they can't be worse than who was here. So, yeah.
And Jaime's like, all right, whatever. I need to get some revenge on the companions that are left. And he kind of makes a list of, important things. So he wants to kill the Hound, save Beric for him. I'll come get his ass, and I don't care about Thoros, whatever. But that's side missions, I guess, on the way to River Run.
Well, in the Thoros thing, he's like, you can kill him, kiss him, or pray with him as it pleases you. And he's like, I don't want to kiss the man. Seemed like a weird line. Again, like,
because we know that he kisses
people to bring them back to life. That's what I was thinking. I don't know.
Interesting.
Could that be foreshadowing? Who knows? Well, not only that, because he says, I don't want to kiss the man, and Jaime says, I doubt, or I'm sure he would say the same. Like, so not only does he say, I would kiss Thoros, Thoros would, there's like a weird implication that Thoros would kiss him back.
Yeah. All right, Ellen, where you at? Let's go fight. And he ends up in the search for a spot.
So hang on. So the bloody members he thinks of is Zolo, Shagwell, Rorg, and Urzwick the Faithful, and the rest. He just kind of throws them under. We didn't hit Rorg or Urzwick.
Definitely, yeah. We didn't say those names, but okay.
Do we know where they are?
Jaime thinks that everybody must have left Vargo. Like, that's what they hear.
Sure, but all of them. Like we've seen Shagwell, we've seen Rorg, right? Did we see Biter, or?
No, I think we saw Rorg. I thought we saw a noseless man somewhere.
I don't remember.
I don't know if we've seen anybody.
Okay, I might be making shit up.
Besides the one that Brienne saw, I don't think we've seen any. Just since they would have left, I don't know who would have seen them.
I didn't know if they were like little Easter eggs in other chapters. All right, so we must fight with Ilyn.
Yep, let's go find him.
And he ends up walking into the bear pit, and out there is Red Ronick Connington.
Yep. Heard a lot about this, guys. Not really in Jaime's chapters, but in in Brienne's chapters.
I know, right? Like, it's kind of funny we get a little Brienne lore dropped by accident here, almost.
Yeah, kind of cool.
Yeah, so he runs into Sir Ronnet. He's like, you lost your way? Like, didn't expect to see you here.
Well, I wanted to see where my old fiance was fighting a bear.
The maiden not so fair dance with the bear.
He's still coming at her. Fucked up.
Which Jaime was too in his head. Yeah. And he says, he's like, is it true that the wench fought naked? That's what he asks.
That'll get your blood boiling, Jaime.
Used to get her blood boiling.
He's like, no, when did that like when is that
rumor, that part of the rumor
mill? Who had to make it that she was naked, right? Like, of all things.
And didn't he say she had small teats too? Like, she was like,
well, he says the sight of her naked might have made the bear flee in terror, is what Connington says. And he's like, you sound like you know her. Like, dude, how do you know
her?
Yeah,
I was almost married her.
And he's like, what? That's like, Brienne never talked about any betrothals. What the hell? He basically says, my father made the match. I said she was ugly. He's like, once the lights are out, all women are the same.
But it was candles, right? It was like,
once the candle are snuffed
once
out.
Once the candle goes down. It's just cooler that it was in this time period.
Yeah.
He says there were 3 matches total. We knew this before. There was 3 matches. He was number 2. It was the father's idea. And then Jaime's kind of like studying Ron. He's like, wait a minute, who is this guy? And he looks 2 griffins. He knows who he is. He's like, he's been mentioned throughout the chapters, like one of the higher ups, invited to dinner and whatever. But he's got 2 griffins facing each other on a field of red and white, 2 dancing griffins. Jaime's like, wait, so your father was the Hand's brother?
Cousin.
And he's like, yeah, exactly. No, cousin. And we find out the Hand he's talking about is John Connington. And Jaime kind of thinks about the deal here. John Connington, we've heard about this guy before, is the Hand.
Like, it's kind of stupid of Jaime to only figure this out now because the dude's name is Red Ronald Connington. Like, it's not like he's hidden that he's a Connington. They
literally have the same last name.
Like, he had to have known he was related to the Hand already.
Just forgot about him, maybe?
To me, the important point out of this is this guy isn't highborn. Like, well, he's highborn, but he's like doesn't have much to his name. All he has is a castle. He doesn't really have even the land around it anymore. He's not a high lord. But we kind of get the story of how that happened. So John Connington was Rhaegar's friend. Owen Merryweather, who again we heard about him earlier, he's Orton Merryweather's, who is Cersei's friend's husband, right? Cersei's new friend Taena Merryweather.
Follow the tree.
Cersei's new friend Taena Merryweather, her husband, Orton Merryweather.
This is Game of Thrones 101.
Are you following, Kyle? This is for you. Are you following?
What was your father's brother's, uncle's, cousin's, son's, roommates?
Are you following, Kyle?
Anyway,
Cersei's friend Taena.
Yes.
Her husband Orton.
Okay.
Cersei put him on the council. He's like master of laws or some shit like that.
Is his name Orton Connington? What's his name?
Merryweather.
Orton Merryweather.
This is the one we were talking about earlier. He's the one who's kind of had the idea for Bonifer. His grandfather is the Hand we're talking about here, not John Connington. Orton Merryweather was the Hand before John. He failed to stop Robert's rebellion from really kicking off, so he got thrown out. And Aerys like, okay, who's up next? Where's Rhaegar? Where the fuck is Rhaegar? No one knows. Okay, John Connington, you're Rhaegar's buddy. You're the new Hand.
Where was Rhaegar?
We don't know.
We don't know? Like, as of right now, you're saying, that's fine. That's fine. You can leave it at that if you know and I don't know. That's fine. Just leave it at that.
Yeah, I think that's the case.
Okay.
So, Rhaegar, where's Rhaegar? Who knows? John, you're in. John is Hand for not that long. He loses at the Battle of the Bells. We've heard this before because this took place at...
But at Maidenpool?
No.
Not Maidenpool. Stony Sept. I didn't remember off the top of my head either.
I wouldn't have guessed that either, Kyle. At least Kyle had a guess in his pocket.
I thought it was where Randall was.
But it happened to Stony Sept, and Arya has been through there. So I think that's remembering this. So yeah, John lost that to Robert, and then he got removed his hand, but also all his lands, everything, and you're exiled. Get out of here. And then he died drinking himself to death. So when Robert won, there was a cousin who had been on Robert's side.
Red Ronald's father.
Red Ronald's father. We don't find it out here. His name's Ronald. Ronald was on Robert's side. He gets given the castle back.
Griffin's Roost.
Griffin's Roost, but not all the lands and stuff back.
Robert kept the gold
because they were
the rest to Connington's.
Yeah, the rest of the family was traitors.
Oh no. Gave it to more fervent supporters. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Imagine taking like
you had to reward
house.
Somebody else. You had to reward people.
Well, that and some of it might have been given away. Like it already had been split. Like Aerys already, like when John got kicked out, there was still some time before the war ended. He might have already like kind of give it like, hey, he already got rid of the Conningtons, so he might have given it all out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
probably.
I mean, not that those people would keep it when Robert took over, but
yeah. And he's like, well, she wasn't very pretty, and I gave her a rose. That was all I was going to give her.
So yeah, we finally got the end of that story, essentially, right? Like we always heard about when he gave her the rose. He gave her the rose, and he made him kind of sound sweet, but really he gave her the rose and was like, "Yeah, this isn't going to happen."
For me.
Yeah. Let's read this little last bit as a quote.
How is it that you did not wed?
Jaime asked him.
Why? I went to Tarth and saw her. I had 6 years on her, yet the wench could look me in the eye. She was a sow in silk, the most sows have bigger teats. When she tried to talk, she almost choked on her own tongue. I gave her a rose and told her that all she'd ever have of me.
Connington glanced at the pit.
That bear was less hairy than that freak. Ow.
Jaime's golden hand cracked him across the mouth so hard the other knight went stumbling down the steps. His lantern fell and smashed, and the oil spread out, burning.
You are speaking of a highborn lady, sir. Call her by her name. Call her Brienne.
Connington edged away from the spreading flames on his hands and knees.
Brienne, if it please my lord.
He spat a glob of blood at Jaime's foot.
Brienne the Beauty.
Good nickname.
So Jaime, like, again, it cuts. This is where it ends. But like, if I'm Jaime, we're never going to see Red Ronnet again after that, right? Like, you don't get smacked with a golden hand to the point where you're spitting out blood and then like continue to push buttons. Brienne the Beauty is a mocking name. It's not quite as bad.
It didn't sound like Red Ronnet was running away from him.
He also, well, that's I think what Nelson's saying. I think Nelson's saying Jaime should kill him right here.
Yeah, who knows? Are we ever going to see Red Ronnet again, or is like this? If it's me, I don't know. It's I mean, obviously, I'm not going to murder somebody. If I could say I would never, but in these times, if I'm Jaime, this guy's getting a little more of a beating, I guess.
But
keep him with the holy men.
Yeah, I was going to say not the holy men, but like Jaime is trying to be a better person too. So like that part of it, I don't know, Nelson. But at the same time, like he only told her call her by her name. He didn't say like
don't make up another nickname, condescending.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not condoning or like I'm not like Ronet's a douche, but Jaime, like he still has these kind of weird thoughts about her in that sense. I guess kind of what I'm getting at here, right? Like how can he condemn him for calling her ugly when earlier in the chapter you even pointed out that he even was like, oh yeah, she's so ugly, right? Like how can you?
I don't know if there's any clue of this, but so what Jaime's whole point with like the whole Ronnet backstory is like. He's nothing. He is landed knight. Like it would be a huge come up for him to marry
Brienne. Like,
how did it? And that's what starts this. How is it that you did not wed? Like this would have been great for you. And he's like, I saw her.
Yeah.
So in this whole conversation I'm having now,
that's fair. So I am too dumb when I'm reading to understand that. I guess
the other thing is he's drunk here. So I wonder if it's like a bit of
loose tongue right now.
Well, could he be regretting it a little bit? Like, fuck. I would be in a way better situation in my life right now if I wouldn't have been like because he's only like 12 or 14 at the time too, right? So,
yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm sure looks matter a little more to young men than they do older men, I think. So
just didn't spend enough time with her. Jaime's kind of thinking about her.
And again, I might be reading into that, but.
Yeah, I don't know.
How do we know that he's drunk? Honest question.
When Jaime first gets up, I think he says that he could smell it on him. He had been in his cups.
What a great saying, too.
That he's holding and stuff.
Been in your cups.
I've been in my cups now.
Yeah.
By the end of the podcast.
Jaime could smell wine on his breath is what he says, actually. But okay, fair enough.
The cool thing about this is that's what Jaime used to do. That's what Brienne and Jaime used to get mad at each other for. Is he used to call her wench.
Yeah, now he's on her side. Exactly. Yeah, that's definitely the
now
point.
That's the thing that he's standing on, as Jeff would say, standing on business for. Is you call
her
business. Not that he said wench and that's what got the smack, but yeah. Kyle?
For any such, the maid of Tarth would have been a sweet plum indeed. Okay, yeah, now that line makes sense. I was wondering how I missed the fact that he was kind of saying, like, you idiot. Like, why didn't you do this?
Yeah. How is it that you did not
Okay. Yeah. No, it makes sense now. Okay. I get it. Like, he's pretty much saying, yeah, like, you had nothing. This would have been...
It's kind of wild, because, like, Bronn is one that would, like, yeah, whatever, I'll marry Lollys. Like, comes with a castle.
Obviously.
Like, I'm in.
I think that's kind of more the point. It almost makes it more insulting that people would like just like she is so ugly, or like
you wouldn't take that rise in position.
Exactly.
They did say something about the teats later, Jeff.
Yeah, I do remember.
You didn't just make that up out of nowhere.
I knew it was on George can't go a chapter without mentioning.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, good point. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess you're right, Nelson. I like he's got some beef here with Ronnet. Immediate beef.
Yeah, we'll see.
Maybe he puts his new fighting to the test with him, right? Like he's been training kind of for this. Connington seems a little drunk, so maybe he has a chance.
Catch him now before he gets up.
What about just Jaime's mission in general? Like Cersei been flirting with the idea of kicking Jaime out of King's Landing for a while, or like at least getting him, just
away from her,
to stop like countering everything she says. Now we finally like, okay, you're gone. Here's what you're doing. Theoretically, Jaime's going to be on this mission for a couple chapters.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like if his arc continues, right, like he's going to have to be good in some way. That's all I have to say about that in that sense. Like, I feel like he has to come, like, if Brienne is really going to take hold of him, right, like he's going to have to come out of the Lannister stronghold.
So what, he can't just like show up at River Run and storm the walls?
Yeah. Like, I think he's going to have more compassion or something here. I don't know. Maybe that's too much to put on Jaime this early. Like it's pretty fresh that he's being a good person.
Yeah, he's just turned his new leaf.
Yeah, but like, how do you siege a castle? I mean, the siege sound, we kind of skimmed through it. The siege sounded like it was losing almost here. Like sure, they didn't have much inside, but they really destroyed everything around this castle beforehand. Yeah. So like,
supplies are limited out there.
Like this siege might not even last.
Yeah, to the whole like, could you hold Harrenhal with 100 men? Like basically, they're like, there's not a lot of people in Riverrun, but that's kind of what's helping them at this point. Is like they don't need as much food. They're running out of food where they're going, to the point when they find the dead horse that the wolf killed, they butcher that thing just because Jaime's afraid like we're gonna be low on food.
We might need this. Yeah. So I don't know, but I have high hopes for Jaime.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jaime's got a little adventure on him. I like him out on the road. I don't like Jaime in the city. You know what I mean? Jaime doesn't belong in the city. He belongs to the fresh air.
We got too many. We got Cersei in the city. We need people elsewhere. We need boots on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, in that sense, Jeff, because I thought that was kind of the other side of what he was asking here. Is like, I think Cersei's gonna have too much freedom at home, and like shit's gonna go even worse.
Cersei going wild.
Like the first thing he says when he's leaving is like, "Man, she better take care of this uprising that I can kind of see happening," and she's not gonna. That was the first thing we talked about. Was like she didn't give a fuck as long as it wasn't an immediate threat to her or a current threat to her.
What's the saying? When something's away, something will play.
The cat's away, the mice will play.
Yeah. Yes, that's Cersei. Right, exactly.
Yep, she's gonna start pulling her plans now, and they're gonna be shit
in the next chapter. Cersei. So,
yep,
we'll see Kyle in that one for Cersei
18.
It's definitely Cersei 5.
5 might be a good guess. Cersei 6. See Jeff in the next. See Kyle in the next one for Cersei 6. See the rest of you guys and Jeff in the spoil section. Bye, Kyle.
I'll be there. Bye.
Later, nerds.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Bye, Kyle. See you on the next one.
Bye, Kyle. Thanks for hanging out with us. See you on the next one for Cersei 6.
Jeff, what we got?
I don't got shit for this, man. Like,
you're crazy.
Well,
Qyburn stinks of secrets. I don't have anything specific for this one, but like, what does that mean?
I don't trust Qyburn as far as I can throw him, for sure.
There's a big Preston Jacobs Dorne theory video. Go watch Preston Jacobs Deeper Dorne or Dorne Master Plan. One of those
He's on Dorne's side?
I think that's basically what Qyburn is. Preston Jacobs.
Why would he keep the mountain alive then? Like, why would he create whatever they call that guy? What is his nickname?
Robert Strong.
Robert Strong. Why create him?
I don't remember off the top of my head. You guys can go watch
I just disproved it right there.
I think part of it is like he's around when like basically all the Lannisters' lives that he wants to be ruined are ruined. Like he wants to see he wants Tywin to see everything bad happen, so he sees his grandson die. He sent Oberyn to poison Joffrey. Qyburn's there when Jaime
gets his hand chopped off.
But that's not quite true. I don't remember what he's saying.
Cersei when she has to do her walk of atonement.
But Jaime's pointing out there's something weird with Qyburn, and I agree.
Like, well, yeah, Qyburn. I mean, again, it's kind of Cersei just kind of putting all of her trust or like all of her. I don't know. Like, yeah, all right, you're with me now. Like, start doing my stuff. Like, you're on my team. Which, like, you didn't even vet this guy. You have no idea what he is, who he is, what he's doing.
Yeah, and he's
like
a bloody
not
mummer.
Doesn't even care that he got kicked out of the Citadel. Like, all right, whatever.
Just think of the crew he was with. Like any bloody mummer, horrible person.
Right.
And then Qyburn, like he was one of them. So, next point, Tyrek.
Yeah, Tyrek's not a horse. He got eaten. He's
not a horse, but the fact that they spend so much time on him in this chapter specifically makes me think like this is George not really giving us hints, but he's saying, hey, this isn't nothing. Like this is gonna be important. And the main theory I know in the fandom is that basically what Jaime thinks here, Varys did something and took him so that when Fagon comes and conquers, you know what I was thinking too, because we're getting close to Dance of Dragons. I think it's going to be really hard but probably me and you, probably maybe me more, just because I've probably said it more in my life. Just anytime, once we find out who Aegon is, that he's Aegon.
To not call him Fagon?
To say Aegon instead of Fagon.
I think I'll be okay.
I don't know. I'm kind of worried about it for me. But so
he's not gonna. I mean, I guess it's a pretty like well-known thing. Is like throw an F on it to be fake. You know, like
I don't know. He could probably figure it out. If I could,
like, if you said Fagon, it would be like, why did you just call him that?
There was actually a funny moment in a recent chapter where I said the High Sparrow.
Yeah, I saw that on the Discord comment that you
Yeah, I think there was a YouTube comment too. And I left it in the podcast. Normally I wouldn't leave something like that in. But just because I misspeak so often, when I said that, Kyle corrected me immediately. He's like, "You mean high septon?" I was like, "Oh, yeah." So, like, it just sounded like I was just... Because we were talking about the sparrows and the high septon at the same time. So it just sounded like me being dumb and combining them. And Kyle corrected me, kind of cleared it up. But so, yeah, back to Tyrek. I think the main theory is Varys has Tyrek so that basically there's a Lannister to put in charge that might have some say when he brings over.
I like that. Don't you think we would have seen him, though? Or, like, heard, like, of...
We haven't seen Varys since Storm of Swords.
Yeah, but you would know. You've read the book. You've taken notes. Like, you would know if Varys actually had said something about Tyrek being, like, stowed away somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any hint. I don't think there's... I mean, people have looked into this. I don't think there's much hint.
I don't mind the idea that Tyrek is like, they're trying to save him to be like, all right, like, we want to keep your family name around. Like, we're putting it all on you type of thing.
So, I think it's more likely that Littlefinger was involved with the riot than Varys. I mean, it is weird that Varys isn't there. But we talked about that in the riot chapter. So you can go back and listen to more of our deeper thoughts on that. I don't even remember them all right now. But I just remember that Littlefinger is my main suspect for have something sneaky to do with the riot. I think part of it has to do with he mentioned something about the riot, but he's not in King's Landing when the riot happens, and like he doesn't stop anywhere where he would be able to get ravens.
Any chance Joffrey was just being a dickhead and started the riot?
Potentially, but the riot starts when Joffrey gets hit in the head by poo. So
I'm just saying, like, would it have been that crazy for someone to throw poo at Joffrey?
Just randomly, no. But also, like, if you're Littlefinger or Varys and you're trying to be like, hey, I want to make sure a riot happens, you can't like throw poop at Tyrion. Like, is he gonna be like, murder that person? But no, Joffrey is probably a pretty sure bet. Like, yeah, just throw shit at him and things will get hot pretty quick, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
But again, I don't know. I don't have any specific details.
I don't know if it's that far-fetched. I don't think it's that far-fetched that the riot just happened naturally. I'm just saying. Like, I know you're always searching for a reason.
That's true, too. But it's weird that we haven't heard Tyrek. So even if it did happen naturally, Littlefinger or Varys, I think, would have the means to find Tyrek quickly. Like, before... So who Tyrion sends is Jacelyn Bywater, who is the commander of the Gold Coast at the time.
Right. Who was on his side.
Yep. So, but if, say, Varys or Littlefinger finds him first... or has a connection who finds him first.
Sure.
Even if it happens naturally, they could still end up with Tyrek. So I think
or his ass could have been eaten, and he's in a pot of brown.
That's true. So this chapter is what makes me think he's still alive.
Sure.
Like we wouldn't talk this much about Tyrek if he was just dead. Especially in a chapter this long. We wouldn't spend a whole page on Tyrek.
I don't know. We're talking about random shit all chapter long. I think it fits.
You might be right, but that's my thought.
It fits because we see the house of his wife, and it's like, okay, like you wouldn't be at this house without the mention of him. So whatever. I'm not going to fight you on it. I think I want him to be alive.
If Tyrek was dead, we can just skip over House Hayford completely and cut out 2 pages of this chapter, though, is my point.
Yeah, but that's not George's. George literally writes for you guys, for you people, all you theorists.
I don't think that's true. You have to even admit there's not much random shit that we talk about that doesn't link into something or could not link into something. There's
so many red herrings. You just want to link them. You link them. You theorists is what I'm saying. Like, you guys try to find connections that maybe don't even need to be there.
Here's the problem. You like the books where the seeds come to fruit. This is one of the planting.
Yeah, because usually the books do.
Seeds here.
No, he's not, dude. The book's supposed to be over. The book's supposed to be over in 2 years. In 2 books.
Tyrek getting kidnapped 2 books ago is, I guess, the planting. But yeah, so that was 2 books ago. You can't say this is the planting.
You just try to make a connection with everything,
which
is fine. I like you for it.
But all right, next part. His hand shone dully in the light, no good for throttling eunuchs. This is when he's pissed off at Varys. His hand shone dully in the light, no good for throttling eunuchs, but heavy enough to smash the slimy smile into a fine red ruin. So he's looking at his gold hand thinking he wants to kill Varys for just being Varys, but he thinks it's no good for throttling eunuchs. So my thought is this is interesting because Cersei's Valonqar prophecy that the Valonqar will wrap their hands around your neck, and Jaime here is thinking I can't throttle somebody.
I'm not going to be able to. Yeah.
So hint that it's not Jaime.
Which I don't think. I mean, I guess you probably thought at one point it was.
Maybe. Next one. Wolves. Just a random quote in the middle when he's talking about like they're on the road. Wolves ruled the weary world from dusk till dawn. Besides being a little bit of a tongue twister.
Starks win.
Starks from dusk till dawn.
And then they lose.
what's that? What's if we're talking symbolically, metaphorically, meta level?
It's not meta.
What does that mean? The wolves ruled the weary world from dusk till dawn. During the
night.
During the night.
The long night.
During the long night, the wolves ruled the weary world.
And then they lose.
No, then dawn happens and Lightbringer.
Yeah,
that's not how it's gonna happen. There's no just big hero moment in these books. That's not how I see it, but it'll be interesting.
Yeah, of course. Of course, you know exactly how it ends.
I mean, we just don't get the hero moment. There's never like a
till this hero moment. This would literally be the one hero moment that this book's talked about.
It's all building up to one big hero moment at the end of the second long night. Next, Willis Manderley, the captive.
Not actually him.
It is him. He's eating people though, and his father at this time in Dance of Dragons.
And he's about to send some meat pie to the Boltons.
Well, he brings some frayed meat pies with him to the Boltons, and he's eating them. And it says like he's like 3 slices.
Yeah, Manderley's just like people.
They're both eating.
They've just been eating people this whole time. We just didn't know.
The other thing we recently talked about, I mentioned to you in a recent Arya chapter when Arya's at the House of Black and White. She's like eating fish all the time and clams and stuff, and then she's like eating pork, and she's like looking at it, and she's like, "Wait a minute!" And they're like,
"It's just people.
It's just pork." And I kind of got you thinking that okay, maybe she is eating people because I linked it to something Bran. Bran eats people too.
Jojen paste.
Maybe Jojen paste stuff. Oh no. Bran on the way to the Three-Eyed Raven, Cold Hands goes and brings back people. Bran sees it Bran walks into Summer, sees like some dead people with like literally like clean cuts taken out of their thighs, and then Cold Hands shows up with pork.
Meat.
It's like, okay, we're north of the wall. There's not a fucking rabbit or squirrel. Where'd you get a fucking pork?
There's no pigs here.
So Bran ate meat, and I think after that he starts having like specialer visions or something. So the thought is cannibalism does something magically to your mind. I think it's just interesting to think about because now, first off, cannibalism can't be, I'm sure it's infrequent, but it can't be never happening in Westeros. There's some really poor fucking people, and that's kind of what poor people turn to, right?
I mean, the people in King's Landing, the flea bottom has literally been eating people for months.
So it can't be too important, but I thought they made a point to say that Sir Gregor not only made sure that Willis and Vargo ate Vargo, but that all the captives had at least a little bit. So maybe that's interesting. Yeah, just kind of weird, the cannibalism stuff.
Yeah, I'm not buying into that it does anything magical. I think it's just like we're all a little fucked up type of thing. Like you guys
were in a bad spot
this whole time.
Yeah. And Jaime, I think right after he goes on to say like Harrenhal has seen more horrors in its 300 years than Castle Rock has in 3,000. So it might just be more to just emphasize how horrible this place is. And the last one, we hear that Bonifer like hung up his lance at one point.
Yeah, he retired knight. I don't think we mentioned that with Kyle.
I don't know. I don't think we did. I think you're right.
No, I don't think we did. Yeah, but he was like an okay knight. Like he was well respected, but he got hit right, like pretty hard.
Some mishap. Jaime says like I'm trying to find it now.
Sir Bonifer himself had been a promising knight in his youth, but something had happened to him, a defeat or a disgrace or a near brush with death, and afterward he had decided that jousting was an empty vanity and put away his lance for good and all.
Yep. So it wasn't really any of those things. Here's what it was, and we don't really get the name of it. You have to connect through a quote from Barristan in the Dance with Dragons and the World of Ice and Fire, but it connects them all. The knight in this little quote is Bonifer. So this is Barristan talking to Daenerys when Daenerys is, I think, just basically being straight up with Barristan and being like, yo, I want to fuck Daario. Like, he's not good for me, but I want to fuck him. I think she's saying it more civilly. She's like, did my parents ever were in love with someone else but had to marry? Because she also has to marry his at the same time. The old knight inclined his head. The queen, your mother, was always mindful of her duty. As a girl, though, she was once smitten with a young knight from the Stormlands who wore her favor at a tourney and named her queen of loving beauty. A brief thing. What happened to this knight? This is Bonifer we're talking about.
Yeah.
He put away his lance the day that your lady mother wed your father. Afterward, he became most pious and was heard to say that only the maiden could replace Queen Rhaella in his heart. His passion was impossible, of course. A landed knight is no fit consort for a princess of royal blood. And then Dany thinks Daario Naharis is only a sellsword, not fit to buckle on the golden spurs of even a landed knight. So,
yeah, wow.
Kind of cool that
that is a cool Bonifer Easter egg.
That the reason he hung it up was because Dany's mom, who's a
princess. He couldn't win that favor anymore.
Yeah, so kind of cool. Again, I don't really have anything to say about it besides, like you said, cool connection. So that was all I had. Jamie's off on his mission. I think next up is Lancel.
What do you mean, Lancel? Oh, he runs in the next
Jamie chapter. Yeah, we go to see Lancel at Dairy. Lancel's crazy pious now. Everybody's pious now.
Yeah.
Religion's taking over. Faith of the Seven rules the kingdoms.
Well, sometimes.
Yeah, and I think Lancel basically tells Jamie, "I'm out of here. I'm going back to King's Landing to be pious, be with the sparrows." Basically,
is Kevin there?
I don't think he is. I think he was supposed to be, but he's not.
Did he have to go west? Did he take the bones back to Castle Rock first?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he was taking Tywin's bones. Good call. Yeah. Yep,
all right. Cool. All right, let's get to Lancel.
See everybody else in the next Cersei chapter, where I think we meet the High Sparrow, not Septon. So if I'm right. So see you guys in that one. Yeah, that's it. Bye bye.